HSV cars, but it's Kelly that takes the first corner.
Ingle in trouble, big trouble at turns 1 and 2. He's ricocheting off other cars. That'll do steering damage for sure. It's backed the pack up, and the Team Kiwi entry of Paul Radisich was mixed up in that.
Hard luck for Radisich. Wrong place, wrong time, and the front left of that car is severely damaged. Look at them fighting for position early on. It's an important time to get track position. Stephen Johnson has been able to come through the mess there.
So naturally spread eagle the pack, all that mid-grid manoeuvring down towards turn 1.
Great start, Todd Kelly. He's got a few car lengths on his teammate. Mark Scaife, the Toll HSV team, very well placed. So too Paul Dumbrell and both Better Electrical cars.
Jason Richards got away well into third already. Stoll gave Scaife a touch through turn 9.
Some bodywork came off the car too, whether it was on Richards or Scaife's car. Look how tight this is. Tander.
Radisich will come into his pit garage.
What a disappointment for Paul Radisich, qualifying in the top 10, having to come in the pits. Here's the Zinger replay. It's one of the Better Electrical cars that got into trouble and forced the Toll HSV car around onto the grass, and there's Ingle.
It's 3-2. It's a super cheap car. Team Kiwi and Russell Ingle all trying to thread their way through a piece of racetrack where really only one car belongs.
Ingle was lucky to keep going, and the contact with Radisich straightened him back up.
It was Greg Murphy, 51 in the super cheap car. We'll keep an eye on that for you.
So this is race 4 of the championship. Will Davison starts on pole position here at the Clipsal 500. And in many ways, they are heading off into the great unknown this afternoon. What a start from Lee Holdsworth. Davison's going to hold his position, but Holdsworth has rounded up Jamie Whincup and slotted straight into second.
And get ready here. This is wild.
Oh, Davison almost lost it there at turn 3, up to turn 4. Look how much water is on the track. The curbs are slippery. The painted lines are slippery. This is a street circuit. It's bumpy. It's difficult. Davison wants to get away from as much of the mess behind him as he can quickly. You're riding with Whincup.
Oh. Wheel spin and more wheel spin. Great job by the field to get through the first couple of difficult corners, but it might be game on here. Dumbrell wide at turn 7. He's been joined by a couple of mates there as well. It'll be congested when they get down to the hairpin at 9 because there'll be an enormous water plume behind these cars, but Will has bolted.
And he's the pioneer into turn 8 today. Look at Jamie Whincup. Didn't mess around. He wants this spot back. This is what happened to him yesterday. He got jumped at the start of the race yesterday and had to work hard to get it back. Today he's made amends in just 9 turns.
As we took the shot out the left side of Jamie's car, you saw a moment where the inside front on Lee's car actually stopped. It just shows you how treacherous the conditions are as he tried to modulate the brake pedal to deal with water, painted lines, bumps and every other thing.
And 2 real winners in this is Rick Kelly, who's jumped to 5th, and Dave Reynolds has jumped to 7th. Great first lap for those guys.
The chopper view down at turn 14 brings you onto the main straight. Massive crowd in the grandstands. Barry Sheen pits straight. Now up to the centre chicane. There's motorsport history everywhere here at Whincup. How did he control it? For all money, that was gone.
Oh my God.
Twice in 200 metres.
Here we go. Let's get it on. Race 2 of the year. And another great jump from Garth Tander. He will certainly cross over in front of Whincup. That's a repeat performance from the Holden Racing team's go-to guy. He takes it through the centre chicane.
Will Davison had a big dive at Craig Lowndes and they got through there together, but only just.
Oh, God. Michael Caruso, and he goes and backs it into the fence. Oh, and that's going to be close. See, James Courtney comes out of pit lane, starts out of pit lane, and arrives down there at that turn to see Michael Caruso facing the wrong way. Around turn 7, along Rock Straight. down in the most fearsome and awesome corner. Here it is, turn 8. Right out to the wall.
Nice jump away for Tander. Nice opening margin on cold tyres in the first lap. Watch for them all. Nose to tail down there in the hairpin at turn 9. It's got about 2 to 3 car lengths, Tander. Quite a few people had to straight line the chicane off the start. It's remarkable that they all got cleanly through. So far, only Caruso casualty at turn 4.
Especially with Will Davison and Craig Lowndes. It was a very late dive, and the two of them were sideways, and they got through there together, and normally you'd see contact. So a pretty clean first lap, Garth Tander. Have a look at this shot. This is fantastic.
They'll be out in 3 to 5 seconds, and we will be racing. We're away for 2014.
And the battle is back on, especially at the front. The two Red Bull Racing Australian teammates looking for the advantage at turn 1, and Lowndes will sneak ahead of his pole-sitting teammate Whincup. Winterbottom in third, James Courtney. Look at Shane Van Gisbergen, the yellow VIP car. Aggressive on the outside line. Up to turn 4. Already push and shove with Chaz Mostert. Smoke coming out of the back of car 6.
That's what I was talking about earlier, that Jason Bright observed, and he's into the wall, Mostert, so he's on his own oil and found the wall. So out early and damaged the front. He's managed to grab reverse, but he will need to report to the pit lane.
The rest of the field unleashes onto turn 7 and down towards turn 8. 245 kilometres on approach. That wall is millimetres away.
They'll need to watch the snail trail up there where Mostert was. There was fluid on the road.
Turn 9. Two Jack Daniels Nissans. Rick and Todd Kelly getting side by side. So Lowndes holds on to position 1 after starting from 2nd. And it's Whincup, Van Gisbergen. He's made up a bunch of spots. 3. He started 6th. He's now ahead of Mark Winterbottom in 3rd.
Great job, Shane Van Gisbergen, because Winterbottom got a very good start. He was the quickest to leap away. He was even quicker than the boys on the front row. But Shane's grabbed him early on. Now, coming up into this area, they've got to watch that oil. Up at turns 4 and 5, Mostert's car was leaving a trail of oil behind it. Great jump by Van Gisbergen. He got away very, very strongly. But have a go at Courtney on the outside. 3 wide into turn 1. How does it work out? They leap across the curb. Cars every which way.
That was out of control. Courtney got the best jump of the first 3 cars. Fabian Coulthard almost stalled, and Mark Winterbottom and Chaz Mostert made contact in the run down to turn 1. That was wild. And Van Gisbergen, a big braking manoeuvre to hold the lead, because he probably should have been passed on the inside by Fabian. So 3 abreast on the way in there. Whincup, after his worst qualifying for Triple Eight Clipsal 500, Fabian's got him. Great move.
That was well planned and executed, and he's got right of way here. There's an agreement between the drivers based on the briefing notes on how they deal with turn 8 when they run down there side by side. Coulthard, cool move.
That was a nice manoeuvre.
There's trouble at the back of the pack, big trouble. And I think it's Will Davison in the Woodstock entry. He's made contact down there, heavy contact, and that car's got big damage. So we were focused on the leaders. Here's Will. What a disappointing start. It's a margin now in favour of Coulthard. So an awkward run out of turn 7 for Van Gisbergen, who rotated on that corner yesterday. And we've got Whincup in the pit lane. So think of the red strategy in the Hino hub. They're dumping the first load of fuel for Whincup because he didn't qualify well. He doesn't have track position. They're playing a strategy game. Nice job, Fabian Coulthard. He drops the clutch and immediately grabs position. Van Gisbergen had to aggressively cover, and look at McLaughlin trying to round him up on the outside. Waters had to take to the jump to get through there. It's a Shell V-Power 1-2 on the run to turn 4.
Ordinary start for Van Gisbergen, and he was monstered by Mostert also. They were bumping on the way into turn 1. Sensational start by Fabian Coulthard. No wheel spin, got away perfectly.
Massive mid-pack congestion through turns 5 and 6. We're riding with Lowndes on the run to turn 7. This is Scott Pye on the outside. He'll be passed in this manoeuvre. And Van Gisbergen complaining absolutely no grip at all was his comment coming off turn 7. Oh, and in the wall. So I think that may have been Percat.
Yeah, you're right.
And he's whacked it so hard he's had to go down the escape road. So he gave it a fair thump. Waiting for the rest of the field to clear the racetrack. Cold tyres, big commitment at turn 8, and he's run out of road. And look at this, McLaughlin seeking the lead on his teammate. Big gap back to Van Gisbergen. And he's stationary on the exit of 9, so he's given that a real belting, Nick Percat. Saw it in the background.
Try and get it back to the pits if you can, please, Nick. Try and make it back to the pits if you can.
And look at McLaughlin, he's trying to get a run on him to have an attack up at turn 4. Supercars, get your hearts racing once again in Adelaide. Race number 2 gets underway. And it's a nice jump by both of them on the front row of the grid. They are lined side by side. They're perfectly aligned on the run into 1. Nobody gives any space. Van Gisbergen holds on. He surfs over top of the bump, and McLaughlin pops out the other side in the lead.
What a great exchange. You couldn't have got two cars more evenly placed going into turn 1. And now Van Gisbergen's going to try to do the crisscross, and they're off the road down there at turn 4. Simona's parked in the runoff area, but we've got to catch up here because can he get down the inside at 7? Wow, what a cool first lap.
Van Gisbergen is such an intense racer. He hung wide and tough on the outside in turn 1. He almost made that stink. It's just the fact that he had to climb the curb to do it. But McLaughlin held steady. McLaughlin, Van Gisbergen, Reynolds. Have a look at Waters down the inside. This is a move on David Reynolds, and I think he's got it done. In fact, there's a bit of contact, and David runs wide with hip and shoulder. McLaughlin, Van Gisbergen, Reynolds dropping back. Waters moves up. Percat, Davison. Hazelwood's a pretty good start, and Reynolds is now behind Hazelwood.
And there's Mostert and Fabian battling right in behind there. You can see the Super Cheap car there with Fabian pressing on. And that was a big move with Cam Waters, and a bump there. Nose to tail, lots of cars in the pit lane. Nose to tail there for Whincup and Slade.
Heimgarten of Winterbottom and Courtney have all come in on lap 1. They're taking their first dose of their 140 litres of Shell fuel. How's the pace of the leaders, Mark? They put 2 seconds on Cam Waters on the opening lap as Chaz tries to look down the inside of David Reynolds, who's a punching bag at the moment. That's the second time he's had a little touch-up today. Let's get this party started. A brand new decade of supercar action begins right here in Adelaide. Great hole shot, Jamie Whincup. Whincup grabs second gear and prevails on the run to turn 1. Reynolds on the outside, position 2. Will Davison tucks into 3. Van Gisbergen and Waters just kissing door handles on the run through 2.
Nice start, very clean, but all the field through there. Now he has to cover Van Gisbergen. A little bit of a bump there with Cam Waters, and some bumping there with Scott Pye and Fabian Coulthard also. Pretty contained, right out sideways against the fence there was Jack Smith at the back of the field, but that was close in the turn 4 lead-in for Van Gisbergen, and that pack of cars there with McLaughlin involved.
A lot of congestion back here. Running very wide, and unfortunately the runoff area is Nick Percat. Once you're on the dirty stuff out there, there is no grip. Cold tyres, they're under pressure at the moment, and he's got no grip to deal with out there. Century Batteries chopper cam gives us the run down to turn 8, and there's a protocol, there's an etiquette down there. Once you get to the 150 metre board, you've got to yield if you're stuck on the outside. That's Pither and the Red Hot Commodore down the inside, the Coke entry. Is that a move that's been done cleanly? The order at the moment is Whincup over Reynolds, Davison, Mostert. The top 4 have not changed. Van Gisbergen, Waters, McLaughlin, Winterbottom, Di Pasquale and Holdsworth. Whincup's got a margin already 0.8 of a second.
Nick Percat's reported that he couldn't turn right, that steering has jammed up and couldn't turn right. So unfortunate circumstance there for Brad Jones, lead driver. And that's half the reason. He was caught wide, but he couldn't turn up there at turn 7. We saw him go down the escape road.
Whincup prevailed on Saturday, chased home by McLaughlin. At the end of this, the Superloop Adelaide 500 crown awaits. And a great start by McLaughlin. He might even have a car length over Van Gisbergen to turn 1, and he sweeps down and grabs the lead. So it's McLaughlin, Van Gisbergen, Waters to third, then Davison and Coulthard. Whincup's made a pretty handy start as well, but a ripping start by McLaughlin, and that's a difficult thing to do.
How aggressive was that by McLaughlin to turn across? Jack LeBrock out there in the weeds, just gets it pulled up before he made the fence on the left-hand side. That was James Courtney also in trouble. But how aggressive was that? He just turned it in. It was like he had blinkers on. He was a thoroughbred. He just turned it straight across the front of him and made it straight to the apex. That was bold.
Oh, and that was a touch of the wall. Price forward. Car number 2 actually whacked the exit wall at turn 7. He's got Andre Heimgartner underneath him in the number 7 Mustang, the white Ned racing entry. So he'll just need to be steady into turn 8 forward to make sure that everything's secure at the left rear corner of that car. McLaughlin's got the lead at the moment. It's 0.4 of a second over Van Gisbergen, and then it's Waters, Davison, Coulthard, Whincup. Oh, trouble down here at 9. Huge trouble. Di Pasquale's involved. Yep. Goddard's involved. Everybody else has managed to scramble around, but Anton's car looks like it's got broken right front suspension.
And I think Scotty Pye's car is very damaged out of that too. I saw the Irwin Commodore, oh sorry, the DeWalt Commodore, there you go. I saw it come by me, and then I saw the Irwin car on the other side, and it looked okay. So this will be a safety car, I would think.
It was left front on Anton's car, and Pye in the wall as a part of the residual damage.
There was more in this, so here we go. There's a lot of them. So there's the Irwin car that I saw with David Reynolds. So they go the other way, around the outside. There's Scotty Pye straight in. That was Bryce forward. And nice presence of mind by Goddard to miss it all.
So let's have a look at this. I think it's the teammates that are actually making the contact. It is. It's David Reynolds that actually touched the right rear corner of Anton's car.
Yep.
And then what happened to Pye was he just tripped over in the traffic. I thought originally he was involved in this, but it was actually the 2 Penrite cars that found the same place on the map.
That's awkward.
Van Gisbergen versus Kostecki. There is a title bout to decide. Is today the day? Go for part 1 of the Adelaide 500, and a great start by Brody. And they bump and grind their way to turn 1 with Reynolds up on the outside, being forced into a yield.
It was a bad start, weirdly, there for Van Gisbergen. The jump from the start was brilliant by Brody, but the secondary part of the start was better by David. But very high risk bumping. On the, oh, and in the fence! In the fence! So Will Brown and I think Shane Van Gisbergen have actually made contact. Yeah, so that's Will Brown in the fence on the left-hand side coming out of turn 4, but I think he got Shane at the same time.
Wow. Safety car boards and flags.
On the opening lap
between turns 4 and turn 5.
Of race 27, there has been heavy contact involving the championship contender, this man, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Will Brown, with big damage on the back of the Coke car. And that is a sad sight for the left front corner of the Van Gisbergen car. That's looking like it could be all out.
And I think there was contact with Anton Di Pasquale to start that. I think that's where it come from. Anton was on the inside. It ricocheted Will wide, and he was caught in it because of the bad start, Neil.
Now keep an eye when they get up here into the braking area.
So that's Anton.
Who makes contact with Brown. Yeah, and Shane had nowhere to go. He's just an unwitting victim in the whole thing. Just clips him on the way by. So you got that 100%. On board here with Will Brown, turn 1. Highly congested part of the racetrack here on the opening lap, and on a cold tyre, it's difficult to negotiate. So that's Di Pasquale just in front of him. He covers down the inside. Will's trying to make ground. Up on the outside, gets squeezed here. Bang, contact. Heavily into the wall. So he eats concrete on the left and gets Van Gisbergen on the right.
So here it is again from external, turn 4. So they interlock wheels, fires Will into the road, and that catches Van Gisbergen and effectively ends his day.